everyone, thank you for staying with Bernama TV. On today's show, I will have two distinguished guests. First, I'll be speaking with Dr. CHEE MENG, the Assistant Professor of Business Economics at the Faculty of Social Sciences, University of Nottingham, Malaysia. And we'll be discussing PMX's recent announcement on targeted subsidies under the BUDI95 program, or also known as the BUDI95. And also later on, don't miss our exclusive interview with Sidonio Trindade de Costa Freitas, Vice President of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Timor-Leste, as the country looks to expand trade and investment with Malaysia in its preparation to join ASEAN. I'm Pasha Rahim. You're watching Bernama World. We begin Bernama World with good news from the capital. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim today announced that the price of RON95 petrol will be reduced to RM1.99 per litre starting September 30th and under the new BUDI95 target subsidy program. Citizens with a valid driving licence can now enjoy up to 300 litres a month at the subsidised rate, while non-citizens and large companies will pay the unsubsidised price of about RM2.60 per litre. Now, Dr. CHEE MENG, the Assistant Professor of Business Economics at the Faculty of Social Sciences, University of Nottingham, Malaysia, joins me via phone to share his insights on this latest development. Hello, Doctor.
Hi, thank you.
Hi, it's very nice to speak to you today. First of all, now our first question that we'd like to ask you, how do you think the reduction of RON95 petrol to RM1.99 per litre under this BUDI95 program, how will it impact Malaysia's overall subsidy bill?
Well, it'll definitely lower the bill for quite a bit, I think. Part of the reason why is because foreigners and companies themselves are not under the BUDI95 subsidy plan. So while Malaysians are able to enjoy cheaper fuel subsidies as private citizens, this does not extend to companies and foreigners as well. So what this basically means is it's very likely that the government is able to save a couple of $1 billion from that, and that would actually be channeled into economic growth plans to develop the country.
Right. The government now estimates more than 16 million Malaysians are eligible for this subsidy. Now, how might such a large-scale fuel subsidy affect inflation, consumer spending, and also the overall economic competitiveness?
I think the inflationary level is probably not going to go very high. I think Bank Negara has projected that the inflation should be 1.5–2.3% this year. So even with the lower prices for fuel amongst private citizens, but maybe higher prices for foreigners and even companies working there, companies in Malaysia, even with that, I think the cost that would actually incur from companies not having subsidies will actually be quite negligible.
Right. The Prime Minister
inflation
also
as a result will
mentioned...
probably not be very high.
Okay. The Prime Minister also mentioned that savings from these targeted subsidies will now be channeled into other areas such as education, healthcare, and also infrastructure. Now, from an economic perspective, how effective is this reallocation strategy in strengthening Malaysia's long-term growth and also our fiscal stability?
I think one of the things that the country has to deal with is moving away from subsidies. So while the couple of billion of ringgit that Malaysia might save from the BUDI95 plan may not be very substantial, it is a right step in the right direction, I would say. And so in the long run, when we actually start understanding how to implement targeted subsidies better, or maybe even remove quite a bit of it in the future, that would actually allow the country and the government to channel money away from the subsidies into development and economic growth. But that will take time because Malaysia has been accustomed to subsidies for so long that I think we have to sort of figure different ways out to ensure that we don't feel the full brunt of the subsidy cuts while ensuring that growth actually occurs.
Right. Speaking of this impact, what could this subsidy move have on Malaysia's investment climate and credit ratings, and also, especially since it signals a very bold step to lower fuel prices amid a very uncertain global economy?
Yeah, I would say that one of the issues that the international community is concerned is how are we implementing this? So as long as we're implementing the subsidy cuts in a systematic way that we understand, this actually helps investor confidence. So the last thing we need is where the government actually starts implementing something that may not be very well understood. So, but what we're seeing right now is the government has a very clear plan on what we're intending to do. And moving forward, I think this would actually boost investor confidence in the Malaysian government.
Right. One last question, Dr. Chee Meng. What do you think are some of the major concerns when we're talking about targeted fuel subsidies?
I think the implementation is definitely a concern because we've never done this before. So, from my understanding, we need a My Card and a valid driver's license for this. So, whether there are loopholes that would actually ensure that non-citizens are able to use the fuel subsidies is something that we have to deal with. And so we have to see how the implementation actually goes forward.
Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Chee Meng Tan, for sharing your views with us. And that was Dr. Tan, the Assistant Professor of Business Economics at the University of Nottingham, Malaysia. Coming up, we'll have an exclusive interview with the Chamber of Commerce Vice President, Sidonio Trindade de Costa Freitas. That's coming up after this break. This is The World on Bernama TV.